So TJ, quite a delicious pairing.
Yep.
Bubbles and Brie, but not just any Brie.
What kind of Brie?
It's a really ripe goat Brie.
Goat Brie?
Goat Brie. And you may also see that I have cut the top off.
It's like our own kind of fondue.
It is. We have fondue. So this is a regional pairing.
Yep.
And I'm going to get you to talk about it.
Okay.
Because you know all about the regional pairings.
Oh, you're throwing me under the bus
Yeah.
here. Okay, so we're going more in the Reims area.
So we're France.
We're definitely in France.
Okay, so we're in France. We've got the map. We're up here now.
Yeah, okay, yeah, around there. So this is Champagne region.
Yeah, so which is up the top, and interestingly, so is the Brie region. So regional pairing, made in the same parts of France.
Yes.
Congruent or complementary?
There's two ways for this.
Sure.
I'm going to say it's complementary because you've got the bubbles, the effervescence of the bubbles and the acid, and then you've got the
richness of this cheese.
Richard, you're cutting me off on saying fat.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a strip the mouth, then coat it again.
Yeah, the bubbles just help cut through a really rich cheese.
Yeah.
And that's the opposite.
Yep.
Or is that the like?
This is the opposite.
Okay.
And then we've got the like, which is the varietals.
Yes.
That are in sparkling.
Yeah, and so a bit of yeastiness is always coming through in this cheese, and it's always coming through on the sparkling. So, lees. What are lees? What does it mean?
So lees are this is going to sound terrible, but the dead yeast cells. Mm-hmm. So dead yeast cells happen when yeast is used to ferment the wine.
Sure.
And then you stir through the lees to create a kind of texture to the wine. And as a result, you're getting this kind of toasty bread, kind of yogurty element.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just another element on top of the fruit that you get.
And so, if I'm correct, the lees, which is the dead yeast, is sort of this cloudiness in the bottle.
And then we just stir it.
And you stir it. And sometimes when it's fermented in the bottle, that's why the turning of the bottle occurs.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then
there you go.
I'm learning. And then when it comes time to drink, the lees are not in the bottle anymore.
No,
is that correct?
No. So it goes for
disgorged or filtered.
Yes.
There you go. Okay.
So, do you want to swap spots?
Yeah. I'm getting there. So why don't you open it?
Oh gosh, here we go.
So is this a cork?
This is a cork.
This is a corker.
This is a cork.
So because I'm seeing more and more sparkling wines under screw top.
Yep.
And under I'm going to mime it. The one like a beer bottle?
The crown seal.
Crown seal. So we're seeing sort of a mixture of all closures now.
So we're retaining a bit of the traditional element.
Because there is a bit of a ceremony about this, and I'm really hoping that you
can
make a bit of a pop with all of this. Do you think it can happen? So 12.
12. Jeez.
Woo! Oh, darn it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So I noticed that sparkling wine is always served in a flute.
Yep.
So is there a reason behind it?
Yeah, so you want to minimise the surface area of the glass so that there's more bubbles.
Okay, so something really interesting happened. I was at a friend's house and we poured the sparkling. I had never seen as many bubbles go up. And I'm like, what are those glasses? And then we Googled and found out that if the glass is perfectly clean with no residue, of which this probably has rinse aid or something, the bubbles go crazy. So the cleaner the glass, the more bubble action you have.
And that's for every varietal. It's the same as dust as well. You want to ensure that there's no dust because it's going to influence your smell.
Yeah, right. Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we swirl a sparkling?
I think out of habit, I kind of just do this for like a thing. Yeah, but we don't need to because it's carbonated, so it's actually aerating the wine
already
itself.
Releasing its own volatile compounds.
Again, should we just swap?
It's all these months of learning.
All these months. Cheers.
If I'm out, again, and my friend says, guess the wine, I can tell straight away it's a sparkling wine.
I'd hope so.
Yeah. Is there a grape that is always used for this? Or is it like rosé, where it could be any grape?
So with sparkling, we usually do a blend. It's going to be a Chardonnay Pinot Noir. Yeah. And this is the same with Champagne region. Yeah. However, the percentage of the varietals differ.
Okay.
So we've got a Pinot Noir and Chardonnay.
Yeah.
So with Chardonnay, you're going to get those kind of like apple aromatics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, apple, pear.
Yeah, I can get that.
And then with the Pinot, you get more of the strawberry. And then obviously, like I said, with this these dead yeast cells, so with lees, which doesn't sound very glamorous.
Yeah.
You're getting those like the toast.
Okay, so it's interesting that you're saying toast because when I was looking to match this, I was eating the cheese and I was with you and I went, I just feel like walnuts but I've got to roast them. And so that's what we did. We roasted the walnuts, which I think just sort of goes with toast.
Absolutely. You got that. And and it's funny you say that because you also get these nutty aromatics with sparkling.
Oh, really? So you should be able to smell roast nuts. A nut in particular?
I think like, no.
I
don't know.
Roast nuts?
We'll cut at that point. She's done it to me again.
And so the cheese that I've picked is really ripe. And so I've spoken before about how white mold breaks down all the fats and all the proteins in the cheese, and it gets to a point where it's really ripe. This is really ripe, and if I could cut it if I wanted to, like a normal Brie. It just means that it's gonna drip, and that's okay and ooze. So sometimes when it gets really ripe, I just like to cut the top off, and then we have ready-made fondue. So you can just grab a nut, or you can grab a cracker
without needing heat. Look at that!
And I didn't even have to heat that up.
Can we like zoom in on this?
That is pretty nice. So I can just do a dip again. Like, why not? There we go.
Why not?
Why not?
Cheers.
Cheese.
And the toasted nut, you kind of get this smoky flavour, then you get the creamy, and then again, the effervescence.
It's great.
Cut through it. Yeah. What do you say, Sheree?
Great. It's great. So talk to me about sparkling versus champagne.
So champagne is an AOC, so it's an appellation d'origine contrôlée.
I normally say AOC, appellation origin control.
Yeah.
What did you say?
So appellation d'origine contrôlée.
Appellation
d'origine.
D'origine. What's the last word?
Contrôlée.
Contrôlée, which I say stands for appellation origin control is about region, appellation, origin, where it began, controlling. And so identifying the region that something first began in.
Absolutely.
Which is about champagne.
So wines, in 1936, champagne was granted status as an AOC, which means that only wines in Champagne.
Can I just clarify?
Yes.
Champagne is a region in France.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's literally a boundary in France.
So only wines from that region in France can be labelled as champagne.
Yeah.
So now that's why you see sparkling or you see brut cuvée.
Yeah.
Which is, the attempts of being a little bit fancy.
Yeah, okay. So over in Australia, sparkling or brut cuvée. Sometimes I also see method traditionnelle in Australia, which means made in the method of champagne wines. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Again, we need to be doing the swaps on the seating.
Great. And so traditional champagne made in Champagne is Pinot Noir and Chardonnay?
Yes.
And do you know if they have very strict amounts of how much goes in? Okay.
So this is dependent on the winemaker.
Okay.
So Brie.
Yes.
It's from a region.
Brie's made in Champagne.
Okay.
And Camembert is made in Normandy.
And what's the difference? Because that would be a common question.
I get
what's
asked a lot. What is the difference between the two? And it's to do with tradition, and it's to do with, first of all, the region they're made in. So Brie is a town in Champagne. Camembert is a town in Normandy. Brie traditionally was made about this big. So it's a really big cheese with a really big surface area and therefore surface rind. And it was made by monks living in Brie who fasted from meat 100 days of the year. So they thought, right, we're going to make this really meaty, earthy cheese.
Yeah, of course.
And the funny thing is, in Australia, not so much now, but in years gone by, our Australian Brie and what Australian public thought was Brie was really mild and quite boring and just a bit of buttery cream.
Yep.
When true French Brie, like the monks were making, is knock your socks off strong, like blue.
Okay.
So
you get more meaty kind of, because they're compensating for the meat that they couldn't have eaten.
And so for us at Adelaide Delights, we like to sort of go the halfway point. We don't want mild boring.
Yep.
And we don't want super, super strong, knock your socks off, because I'm not quite sure the Australian palate's ready. So
Absolutely.
we like to sort of skirt between the two.
Yeah, introduce them into it.
So it was to do with size.
Yep.
And then Brie was made 1,000 years earlier than Camembert. So it's a much, much older cheese.
Okay.
And the monks fled Brie because of religious persecution, ended up in this little town called Camembert, and a lady who lived there called Marie Harel sheltered them. And in thanks to her, they said, we're going to teach you how to use surface moulds. And so Camembert was born sort of this size, the size of a saucer, as opposed to the size of a really big dinner plate.
Okay.
And then I guess the final difference is this word we hear a lot in wine and cheese, which we don't know a lot about in Australia, terroir. How do you say that with a French?
Terroir,
terroir.
absolutely.
Okay, so this is to do with the flavour in the soil.
Yes, absolutely.
So they would say that the grass grown in Camembert tastes a little bit different to the grass grown in Brie, and that affects the milk flavour, and the environment and the climate affects it. So it's all to do with tradition. Interestingly, coming back to wine, I asked a winemaker friend, very old, very experienced winemaker friend, to say, what is the difference between Australian wine and French wine? Like, is there a sentence that will just make it really clear to me? And he said that in France, you taste the wine and you can say, that is from Champagne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's all about the terroir or the flavour of the soil, and they try to make the wine so that the region can shine through.
And that's funny because that's where they actually label on the wine the region. They don't show the variety.
They don't show the grape. They show and then in Australia it's the complete opposite. We want the grape to shine. So I never used to understand this word. It was fruit forward. I'm like, what does fruit forward mean? And then I understand it's all about the grape.
Yes.
And we want the grape to shine through.
Star of the show.
Almost no matter what region it's from. And that was sort of the opposite of what the French do.
Yeah. And I think that's because they're old world wine and we're new world wine, and the focus is primarily on the fruit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sheree, you say goat's milk has been used.
So this is goat brie, and just say your friend said, hey, guess the cheese, or I said, guess the cheese.
Yeah.
Straight away, because it's white, you immediately cancel out cow milk. It's got to be goat milk or sheep milk. So the colour...
it's usually yellow.
This would normally be very yellow.
Okay, yep.
So goat milk is a very white milk and a very white cheese. And the interesting thing is between goat and cow milk is that if they were side by side, you think until you see goat milk, cow milk's white.
Yes.
But when it's next to goat milk is porcelain white, and you realise that cow milk is yellow. And so it affects the flavour of the cheese. It will not affect, it affects the colour of the cheese. So we make this using a method that we'd use in a cow milk brie. Okay. But goat milk is a lot more fragile. And goat milk is closest to human milk, more so than cow milk. So it's really easy to digest.
Yep.
It has a specific flavour, and people sometimes go, no, I don't like goat cheese, it's too goaty. The thing is, if
you go to be kidding.
You go to be kidding. And then you have a lot of goat cheese.
Yep.
And then you try cow cheese, and you go, that's really cowy. Like, the thing is, goat tastes goaty, but cow tastes cowy. And if all you have is cow milk, you don't realise that it tastes cowy. So really interesting milk, really delicious flavours. You can make incredibly mild goat milk cheeses. You can make incredibly strong.
Well, I guess this is like the chev with the with this.
And we try not to go too strong, again, because we feel that the Australian palate's not quite ready for crazy knock your socks off goat cheese. And to be honest, I don't love crazy knock your socks off goat cheese either.
Easy transition to it.
Easy transition.
Beautiful.
So we're all wondering, best serving temperature for sparkling.
So I'd go even chilleder than the white and the rosé with this
cooler,
one. Yeah, absolutely. So this is a well chilled wine.
Yeah.
6 to 10 degrees.
Yeah. See, the funny thing is, our fridges run under 5.
Yeah.
So we'd just pull it out. But I guess once it's in this glass, it's not going to take long to lose a degree or two.
And like we say, our classic little party trick, just hold it in your hands quickly.
Yeah.
But again, you're going to get those aromatics straight away because of the effervescence, because it's carbonated and again, it's such a habit.
Yeah, to swell.
What about
cheese? So again, mould matured. So therefore, room temperature. And we spoke earlier about if you're just desperate and you just have to grab it out of the fridge and you just have to eat it now, then put it in the microwave on low for say 10 or 20 second bursts to just bring it to room temperature, because otherwise you don't get all this shiny gooey. It's hard, it's like butter. So best at room temperature.
And I mean, if you're looking at that, is definitely worth the wait.
It is, yeah. And I've had that out, say, probably for 4 hours. Yeah. And it was already on its way, but now it's just like really good. So what we've learned, red wine, once it's open, you've got 3 to 5 days. White wine or chilled wines.
And rosé.
And rosés, 5 to 7. Sparkling.
So 1 to 3.
Okay. And
this is our shortest license.
Yeah. Because it loses its bubbles.
Yeah, just think of Coca-Cola, like just soft drinks.
Yeah.
It just becomes flat.
Yeah. And the challenge with a bottle that has cork is that you need to secure it. So you use one of those cork things.
Cork things.
What are they called? A bottle stopper?
Cork stop?
A cork stopper. I've got one in my drawer. I just don't know what they're called. So, but if you use that, 1 to 3 days.
Yeah, 1 to 3. And again, because sparkling is such it's one of those moment wines.
Yeah.
It's a celebratory wine, so you'd be like concerned if you didn't.
Yeah, that's
enjoy
true.
it
Because
away.
when I open it, I'm very conscious I've got today because tomorrow's okay, but it's not awesome.
The third day you go.
Yeah, yeah. So when you open a Brie or Camembert, it's a little bit more forgiving than a sparkling, and I'm going to say 2 weeks.
Okay.
In my favourite Tupperware cheese keeper.
Product placement.
Or if you must, in an airtight container.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's enough to look after it. So TJ, it's that time. We all want to know your fun fact.
Okay, Sheree, the most expensive sparkling wine in history was a 2013 Goutte de Diamant, which is a translation for Taste of Diamonds, which sold for just over $2 million.
That's ridiculous. Now, but the hint is here. You've said Taste of Diamonds.
Yes.
Surely it came with a diamond.
And I mean, yes, the impediment was there was a 19-carat diamond. But
where?
Inside the bottle.
Oh my gosh.
But again, I can think of so many different ways to spend $2
full
million.
on. But anyway, good for them. So, TJ.
Yes.
Thank you for the incredibly informative session. Loved it. Here's to demystifying cheese and wine.
One bottle at a time.
Cheers.
Cheers.